Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and thank you so much for joining the Life Signatures Radio from any place that you're listening to and at any point in time. I don't know what time you're listening to this, but it is February 2024, the beginning of the year. Actually, the year is already speeding up. Soon enough, it will be Valentine's Day. Before you know it, you're looking for Easter, and then Eid, and then all those things. And it's half the year. I'm telling you, before you know it, this year is gone. Unless you plant yourself and you become circumspect, this year is already finished even before you know it. It's a daily podcast where we talk about purpose, productivity, and resilience. Every waking morning, God has given us the ability to do this and the passion to do this and the content to do this. And so we're going to continue going strong even in building the same. We are in the middle of a series. We are talking in this very long series. We're talking about work. Work is a good thing. Work is a blessing. We've said that a million times. Let us continue to deliberate about that subject. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures Podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures Podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
We have seen quite a bit of information coming through in the past previous episodes, and it's been quite eye-opening, inspiring. It's been very informative for me, even as I'm going through the same. We saw yesterday that there is a direct connection between identity and work. We saw that your identity is there even before you were born. And when you're born, you'd better be authentic to that particular identity. In other words, your work should be fueled by your identity. Okay, unfortunately, we see that when people are born, we don't even question to see what's their calling, what's their identity actually. In fact, we start the process of imputing another identity on them, which we are imputing on just about anybody else, the same kind of identity. It is wrong. Your work, your core work is connected to your identity. And even if your core work is not connected to identity, if someone focused on you and asked you questions about how you are doing and where you come from, what you do, you will obviously be thinking about your identity. So your ID and your work are two inseparable things. And today I want us to start deliberating about why your purpose can only be demonstrated through your work. Why your purpose can only be demonstrated actually through work, not necessarily through your work, but through work. See how critical that is? It is like we've kept saying, the human psyche or the human being, or the existence of the human is deliberate upon them working. Even before the human existed, the idea or the concept of work was available for them. That's why they were created in the first place. It's amazing how minds work, by the way. It's amazing how your mind can work. The moment I started to focus on the subject of work, I started seeing different pieces of information on the same subject. And for instance, I was on LinkedIn some time back when I noticed, guess what, Tony Robbins' message on the same subject about work. It turns out that he was insinuating and making a rallying call on the American Labor Day. And this is what he said. Let me just quote him. He said, "The most sacred thing we can offer another human being besides our love is our labor. Our work is an offering of our time, our energy, our creativity, our intelligence, our greatest vision, and ultimately our desire and our ability to take action. This is kind of like something I said earlier on in one of these episodes. He says it is through our work, which is really our love in action, that we share our greatest gifts with one another. Man, it's rich. That's rich. That's so rich. I love it. So, we talked about work or job in a previous episode. We started by exploring the possibility that your work is not limited to your job. In other words, even if you do not have a job, your work is still there waiting for you. Right? We say that and we just put it outside there. That is one way of looking at it. But I still revert back to that kind of a definition. And shortly we'll just go deeper there and see what we can be able to learn. But the other concept about work is that we need to be reconciled to its definition. We talked about that. The definition of work. And I love what Tony Robbins is just telling us. If we had the definition of our work right, then we shall have the rest of our lives seen to be lived differently. So, what's the definition of work? We've already said that the definition of work, unfortunately, has been shrouded in different types of meanings that relate to something you do to be paid, which, in my opinion, is not the full definition of work. In other words, work is always being defined as something that can be paid for. We give a definition depending on the rewards we get out of it. Okay? The problem with that definition, that outlook, is twofold. One, anything that does not seemingly give us a reward is not considered as work. Two, the kind of reward we're looking for is always monetary and cyclical. In other words, we're looking for certainty. We're looking for surety. And I had a friend of mine some time back saying that salaries are not biblical. Wages are. Hey. Wages are what will flock into your life depending on the work that you have done, and not depending on a contract that you have signed to be paid for at the end of the month. So let's go back to the notion of your ultimate work. I believe with all of my heart that you were and I was equipped specifically, and this one is controversial, but I do believe that it's specific to some special things that we're supposed to do here on earth. We were equipped for them. That's why I am different. That's why I am passionate the way I'm passionate. You are passionate the way you are. That's why you're gifted the way you are. I'm gifted the way I am. Purpose is what you have been created to do. The reason for my existence is my purpose. It is my difference on the face of the earth. It is my calling. It is your calling. It is what will bring you the ultimate fulfillment. It's what will bring me the ultimate fulfillment. Anything outside of purpose doesn't bring ultimate fulfillment. Because sometimes we can get fulfillment momentarily, but that's not ultimate. What we need to understand, though, is that purpose will never be fulfilled outside of work. Period. Never. There is not a human being anywhere in any generation since Adam who got fulfillment outside of work, or who deployed their purpose without working. None. Purpose itself, as I have already said, is the ultimate work. It's the life's work. It is what you were born to do, what you've been selected to do, what you've been called to do. The doing is, though, it is the making sure that you deploy your calling. It's going to require that you and I do something, work. This is what I mean. With the message of purpose, people tend to think that you are not doing anything that is within your purpose. You are wasting your time. If you're not doing anything that is within your purpose, you're wasting your time. I'll differ. Because some will lie to you that if you, and you've caught me speaking like this, that if you are in the bank working as a clerk and yet God called you to be a writer, you are in the wrong place. Not necessarily, my friends. You've heard when graduates come out of university and then they're looking for jobs, you ask them, what job are you looking for? They say, just give me anything, I want to work. And you start castigating them for not being purposeful. You might be wrong. Because there is a continuum, a growth continuum, a discovery continuum of purpose. The evolution of purpose. So your purpose discovery is not acute, it is chronic. It doesn't come to you all of a sudden. It's not like a burning bush experience. The guy that you normally quote about the burning bush experience had a chronology. It was at the 80th year that burning bush came. The burning bush did not come to this guy when he was 15. And even the guy who was anointed in the Bible at 17, he did not necessarily start fulfilling and deploying his purpose until he was 30, 17 years later. 13 years later. So you cannot suspend living and stop doing things that you could do, even if they are not in your whatever of purpose, because you're looking for your life's work. You're looking for your life's work in the wrong way. You should look for your life's work by working in whatever it is that is in front of you. Unless, of course, whatever it is that you're doing is directly connected to your purpose. If you don't have anything directly connected to your purpose, and you have an opportunity to do something that is not connected to your purpose, do it. You have to be busy doing something, because purpose discovery is a process. Waiting while you're not working is not the way you're going to discover your purpose, however much you're praying and fasting. I don't care. It's not going, and I know I've been reported to pastors when I said this, that praying, just praying, spending time praying is not going to bring about your purpose. And I will say again, if you listen to me and you're going to report to the pastor, go. I will tell you again, show me a man who discovered their purpose solely through praying and not working. You pray and go and sit and you don't do nothing. You never. So the work you're doing between your purpose discovery is the critical part that is connecting you to that which is your purpose. So you've got to be a steward. That's what we actually, in my purpose discovery book, the second level of purpose discovery is stewardship. In other words, who is a steward? A steward is someone who's taking care of business right now. Even if they like it or they don't like it, they are being good managers. They are being faithful with whatever they have, however little it is. It is part and parcel of purpose discovery. Why? Because stewardship prepares and sharpens you for what your calling is. It is what happens. Perhaps it's the common knowledge that an apprentice can have or a journeyman can have to become a master is what they can do today. This is essentially meaning that you might have to go through a period of training, a period of setbacks, a period of hating what you're doing, a period of being unfulfilled, but at least you are engaged. That's the key. You are engaged even without pay. We need to learn that even without pay, we should do these things. Tomorrow I'm going to, just tie this and bring it to a conclusion. But let's understand one thing. You shouldn't stop doing anything that you can do because you're waiting for your life's work so that you can start working. Wrong move. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.